Hey, what's up? This is Jim Maychek. I think this is our 4th episode in the Road to IFBB Pro Series. Training some arms here at Steel City Gym in Pueblo, Colorado. This is my home gym and where I do most of my personal training. Things have been going pretty good this off season. Just eating a ton of food, definitely some cheat meals, and that's why we're able to do the high volume that you'll see here in this video. So here we're starting out just kind of warming up the elbows. I usually start out with rope cable push downs, but today we started out with reverse single arm push downs and went real light, nothing fancy, just trying to get some blood in the connective tissues in the elbow area and just get things moving. I definitely stretch out quite a bit in between sets. I do a lot of overhead stretches just to get that tricep tendon fully stretched out. One thing with triceps, a lot of people neglect to focus on the long head of the tricep, which is the rear head, the back part of your tricep. It's so important to hit that, but in order to hit that, you have to warm up with exercises that hit the other heads and warm up that elbow first, because if you just start out with overhead movements or skull crushers, like dumbbell overhead presses and stuff, it can really you can get those elbows firing up and hurting pretty good. So we definitely try to start out with this kind of stuff to sort of warm up. So I think I did about 3 sets here, nothing too crazy, not even necessarily to total failure. And then here you'll see us do just regular tricep cable push downs with an easy curl bar. And this is my last set. It's a heavy set, and I think we did 4 sets here, and things were feeling real good. And again, I warmed up a little heavier on every set leading up to this one, and I think I got about 15 or 20 reps on this. But yeah, I definitely don't just jump into it and use this full stack. This gym has a lot of tough stuff equipment, and I hadn't really heard of it before I went here quite a few years ago, and it is just heavy stuff. They have a hamstring machine downstairs that's tough stuff, and that thing is a beast. I've never been able to see a human being stack that hamstring machine. So it's definitely no joke. So here is just some overhead extensions, and this does hit that long head part of the tricep. There's so many different ways to do this. You can lower the back part of the cable to where you're pushing just straight up overhead, or you can do it like how we're doing it here, where I keep my head down and I just go straight out. For some reason, I had 2 shoulder surgeries back in 2013, and so when I lower the back part of the cable down and I try to go up over my head, it does cause some shoulder stress. So this doesn't hurt my shoulders as much. So I kind of been leaving it here ever since those surgeries, and it seems to be doing the trick. And this is I was pretty tired by this point, and definitely did the trick for sure. So we're finishing up here, and then we're going to move on to one more movement where we also hit the rear head of the tricep. This is Christy talking smack. She's a Chicago Bears fan, and I'm a Broncos fan. And this is a couple weeks before they played each other, and it turns out the Bears won at the very end there. So yeah, she's still talking smack to this day. So anyhow, so here's me on the tricep overhead extension. I try to keep my elbows in as much as I can. You definitely want to get a full stretch and go all the way down to like the middle part of your head whenever you go down there, and just keep constant tension without snapping those elbows too hard. You don't want to cause too much stress in that elbow area. But as long as I leave this for the end, I've had no elbow pain or anything like that, and it definitely does the trick without question, and adds a third dimension to your triceps. So then we moved on to biceps. This is the preacher curls, hammer strength, just old school exercise. I love it. It's definitely something that I usually leave second in my routine, but this time we started with it. I think I did like 3 warm-up sets before this, and I pretty high rep too. The first couple sets I think were sets at 20, just to get blood in that bicep area, make sure everything's moving pretty smoothly. So this set we did a drop set, just 2.5 plates here. So we did 2.5 down to 1.5 down to just a quarter with some single arm curls at the end, and I was feeling it pretty good here. When I get into pre-contest prep, the bicep and tricep training becomes a lot shorter. It's I definitely still warm up and make sure everything's safe, but it's probably 3 to 4 sets at the very most per exercise, and sometimes I'll just do 3 exercises versus 4 that you'll see here today, and we still get the job done. And then at other times, if I have adjusted my carbs to high carb days, I'll add in some extra triceps on like a chest day, or some extra sets of biceps on a bicep day during pre-contest, and that just depends on my carbs and how I'm feeling that specific day. But here in the off season, I can usually handle a whole entire extra exercise, and it usually definitely does the job. One thing to note before I forget, you want to keep your tricep on the pad. I see a lot of guys doing this where just their elbow is digging into the pad and they're just using it to swing up the weight. You want to actually put the belly of that tricep right on that pad and adjust your body, even though it's not comfortable, to where it's digging in your armpit, and that way you can't cheat, and it's a direct bicep movement. If you just have that elbow, pressing down on that pad, you're going to probably cheat, and it's going to be a mess. So you got to keep that tricep on that pad the entire way. So I like the fact that this gym has these hammer strength single arm curls. This is a beast. I try to do the whole stack here. Probably a little too heavy for me. You can see my shoulder moving up and down, but nevertheless, I got a pretty good set in. I think we just filmed this right arm just to keep it a little bit shorter, and I was hurting here. This was heavy as hell, and so on this, you definitely want to be warmed up and ready to go. It does place a little tension on that bicep tendon, especially at the full stretch mark. So this is one of my all-time favorite bicep exercises, because Steel City Gym has this piece of equipment. And so here, this is the movement that we probably would have cut out if we had been in pre-contest training, but we added in just 3 sets of this machine downstairs. And I'll alternate between, say, this machine and just regular old school bicep curls. But I think it's good to show you guys some different pieces of equipment that you can use. And this is kind of a rare piece. It's an older piece of equipment, and you can really isolate those biceps. So again, I put the triceps against that back pad on this machine, so I don't move my arms at all, which is very hard to do with dumbbells. And you just really get a good squeeze and a good stretch on every single curl. So definitely does the job there. But again, we do use free weight dumbbells quite often. I will definitely keep this exercise you see here the entire year. This exercise added so much size to my outer biceps, and again, we'll switch between dumbbells and cable curls for this. And I can't believe in the rear double bicep and in the front relaxed pose how much size this added to my outer biceps. A lot of people neglect their outer biceps. You definitely do not want to neglect them. Most of us, believe it or not, guys and girls alike, are born with good inner biceps, but you have to specifically train those outer biceps and keep those arms inward and get that good squeeze at the top. So here, we supersetted this with basically a brachiolis movement, where it also hits the outer part of the bicep, a little bit of those top of those forearms, get a nice good stretch and good contraction. You don't, when I go all the way down on this, a lot of guys, when they go all the way down, they bottom out the weight stack. I back up a little bit, so where I have tension on those on the muscles at all times. So I usually step back just a little step from the stack, and it keeps that constant tension. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time. There'll definitely be more videos to come. We're featuring some videos with Shay Thun from Colorado Springs and Misty Lambert. And yeah, look forward to more videos coming your way. Thanks.